way. Started young, then China flew me right back across the runway. And I knew I'd be in this gym one day. Turn me up and let my shit laugh. Get a circle of the city with tours in these major cities. Tell them repeat it with me. SLC who's fucking with me. I killed this shit, it's so simply beautiful. Where's my symphony? Turn it up, let it blast. Why these shorties go shake their ass? I go to lunch.
Hey folks, Elliot Marzulli here. Thanks so much for joining us for our conference and on the last to go up. I'm going to be talking about the film Age of Disclosure. This film really, as I said in my introduction to the conference, this really was a nexus of this entire event. I watched that film and I said, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And it begs the question, how does Dan Farah, the director, get to interview all these people? I mean, I can't get to first base, let's say, with Lou Elizondo, and I've tried. We've texted each other and not texted, but emailed each other a few times, and so far I can't get him on the show, but I'll keep trying. I know he's super busy, so I will keep trying. But, Dan Farah sat down with all these people, admirals, generals, people in the government, congressmen, congresswomen, people like Lou Elizondo, embedded in ATIP, Advanced Aeronautical Threat Identification Program, and others. Christopher Mellon, former CIA. I mean, they're all saying that we're not alone. And in the very beginning of that film, and this really served as I'll say it again, a nexus for all of this, because when I watched it, I went, oh my gosh, they're all saying we are not alone. Nat Geo poses the question, are we alone? Are we alone? I mean, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And you have to remember this, in our halls of Congress, and I'll get to this a little bit later, but I'm kind of whetting your appetite for it. David Grush is a whistleblower, and Nancy Mace, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, asked David Grush, do we have pilots from these crashed craft? And Grush looks right up at her and says, yes, we have the biologics. Are they human or non-human biologics? Nancy Mace poses the question. David Grush looks right up at Nancy Mace and states on the record, non-human biologics. That is one of the rungs on the ladder of disclosure. So we'll be getting into this. Here's the trailer for Age of Disclosure.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone. Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real. They're here. And they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP program.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A 1-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomena.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings. The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret, very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human
history. You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
Oh my goodness.
What else you want to know?
And what we have to realize is that, the film has been out. A lot of you have watched this. We're not in Kansas anymore. Pastors need to understand this and wake up. The church needs to wake up, which is why we're doing this conference. So this is Christopher Mellon. I've come to the conclusion that we are not only not alone in the universe, we're not the only species. I'm kind of putting words in his mouth, but that's basically what he's stating. So look at this. Vehicles not made by human. That's Lou Elizondo. This is Hal Puthoff. Crash retrievals have talked about a number of different species. The others of which the bodies were recovered by the crash retrieval program. So in that sense, they can be seen as gifts from a more intelligent species. Let me explain what that is. I believe that the Roswell crash in 1947 was a deliberate crash, and this gentleman is saying the same exact thing, that these are gifts, these are deliberate crashes. So why are they doing this? Why are they, and when you get to the book of Enoch, and I'll go off on a little bit of a rabbit trail here, you get to the book of Enoch, the fallen angels come down and do what? There's this quid pro quo, give us access to the population, we'll give you the toys, the metal making, the weapons, the swords, all this other stuff. And so nothing has changed. Jesus warns us will be like the days of Noah. Folks, we're here. We are absolutely here. And, these guys that are coming on the record, these men and women that are coming on the record are highly educated, and they're part of our government, or have been part of our government, or have served for decades in our government, in the armed forces, in the CIA, in Congress, and other places. They know what they're talking about. And the whole purpose of this conversation, this presentation, is to inform the church that, yes, something is going on. I've been talking about it for decades. 4 decades. We have 10 films on it. My business partner, Gil Zimmerman, and I, 10 films on it. Everything from Close Encounters of the First, Second, Third, and Fourth Kind. Abductions, cattle mutilations, crop circles, 2 films on Roswell. Finally, where is the truth? Look, all these people, and one after another, in that trailer, we are not alone in the universe. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? We have the answers from a Christian perspective. And when you read this, and this is the direct quote, they did recover 4 bodies of humanoid aliens. He's talking about the Roswell crash. What do you do with this? There is a physicality to this phenomenon. This is not all demonic delusion. Those who want to believe that and promulgate that they're free to do so. But we are also free to push back and say, no, wait a minute. The phenomenon is real. People are taken. There is a breeding program that's going on, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. The Vatican has irrefutable evidence that non-human intelligence exists. Just a few weeks ago, not this particular Pope, this is Francis, but Pope Leo was talking about this whole extraterrestrial phenomena, this whole UFO phenomena. At the U.S. Army airfield in Roswell in 47 did actually occur. So Elizondo was telling us on the record that what happened at Roswell was real. We have 2 films on Roswell. Gil Zimmerman and I produced 2 films on Roswell. We went to the debris field. We found a piece of metal in the debris field. We tested it. It's an aluminum alloy, but it doesn't fit it doesn't match any known aluminum alloy. More testing needs to be done. And I've talked about this before. Roswell, in my opinion, was absolutely deliberate. Let's continue. And with that crash, non-human bodies were recovered. We've got the deathbed confession from Colonel Hill, and I'll just stick with that because I could go down rabbit holes here, other witnesses that I've talked to. But Colonel Hill stated he was OSS, the forerunner of the CIA, and he was flown in to Roswell. And there were the bodies, and one of them was still alive, and he tried to communicate with it. I mean, how many people have to come forward before the church begins to realize that something's going on here? Congressmen have come forward now, and you saw the trailer in the beginning of that. This whole just group of people, highly trained, highly intelligent people, come on the record and say we're not alone in the universe. We retrieve bodies. We have crashed craft in in our possession. We are in the process of back engineering things. Let's continue. 4 non-human bodies were recovered from the UAP crash at Roswell. I've heard the same thing for decades, which is now called Wright-Pat. They were shipped to Wright Field, which is now called Wright-Patterson Field. So in 47, it was just called Wright Field after, of course, Orville and Wilbur Wright. That's what it is. And I've said this before. I'll go quickly here. But our president, President Trump, needs to create an executive order. Get 500 of the best of the best of the best. SEALs, Marines, whatever. Split them up into 2 groups. 250 go to Wright-Pat, 250 go to Area 51.
Okay.
You've got congressmen, congresswomen, senators embedded with those 2 task force. They have the press there, and they have an executive order signed by the president. Open it up now. We want to see what you got. The people of the world have a right to know what is going on. We believe, as biblical, as born-again, Bible-believing Christians, that these are not extraterrestrials from some faraway galaxy, but they are, in fact, the fallen ones that have come at this time to create what I call the Great Deception. Let's continue. Army debunks Roswell flying disc. World simmers with excitement. And look at the lower right. This is the false narrative. Officers say disc is a weather balloon. Well, we did a whole film. It's called Exoneration. Gil Zimmerman and I. Exoneration on Jesse Marcel Sr. because he was the patsy. He was the patsy. It's Lee Harvey Oswald of ufology, if I can use that analogy. But he is. He was the patsy. Oh, it's a weather balloon. It wasn't a weather balloon. And we've heard this from well-meaning Christians. And God bless them. They're brothers and sisters in Christ. But I have a different take on this, and so do many of the speakers that have joined us here. Roswell was real. Roswell was a gift to us. Back engineering occurred. We have witness after witness after witness stating on the record that this is what they saw. Let's continue. These people had their lives ruined simply because they spoke the truth, and we know that. I believe certain people were actually killed. Fast-growing cancers, that's all I'll say about that. The president routinely went down to his ranch in Stephenville, Texas. I was one of the first people to break the story with Stephenville. It's actually in our book, Further Evidence. I sat down with Ricky Sorrell, who was the lead witness. He's out there deer hunting, real quickly. He was out there deer hunting the day after New Year's, right? And he looks up, and there's this Mile Wide craft right near the ranch, right near Stephenville, Texas.
That's
and
mile wide. That's
he thinks about shooting it and doesn't. And this thing kind of takes off like this and slowly moves away. It's like a mile wide. He couldn't see the edges of it.
Wow.
And it went away. And then about a minute or two later, 2 F-16s or whatever, very fast jets go scrambling into this thing. What are we to think about that? And he was threatened. Black helicopters over the house, weird phone calls at 2:00 in the morning, being followed by the blacked out SUVs. So he went dark after a while. Let's continue. Yeah. This UFO appeared over one of the bases and sitting absolutely still for, how many reports do we have like this? Something is going on, but what is it? Are these really friendly ETs from some faraway galaxy, or are they interdimensional beings with a very nefarious agenda? I think most of you know the side that I lean towards very heavily. Something else out of the frame. We actually talked about this in our second film, The Experts Weigh In. What it was, there was a rocket launch, and this UFO appears, all of us just in the frame like this, and it goes around the rocket. As the rocket's moving at really fast speeds, like the rocket is almost in laser beam of light, and the rocket just goes down.
Wow.
This gentleman broke the story on that. We covered this in The Experts Weigh In. This is another one, Bob Salas. We broke the story in our Watchers film.
He's the writer of
we're just not Johnny-come-latelys.
Psalm
Richard
83.
Shaw, my late business partner who passed away a few years ago, and I interviewed Robert Salas, and we broke the story on this. He was the commander of the Malmstrom Air Force Base, and this orange UFO just kind of pulsing and glowing, just hovered right over the gate. And Salas was the commander of the Malmstrom Air Force Base, which was, I should say the Malmstrom Base, which was the home of 10 intercontinental ballistic missiles, which the UFO promptly shut off. How is that possible? Because these entities can manipulate space, time, matter, and energy in ways that defy our physics.
That's Eisenhower.
So Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, and we've seen this, and most of us have heard this over and over and over
I
again.
wish I could stream this live, but I
Military-industrial
can't.
complex. And
Only thing I can
accountable
give you is
anymore.
audio,
And
and
in the
I
film,
apologize.
Disclosure, Secretary of State Marco Rubio talks about that. You need to watch the film because he talks about that. Because information can be given from a sitting senator or a congressman to, let's say, a private industry, but then the senator goes away after 8 years or whatever, right? But the private industry still has the information, and now they're accountable to no one. Which is why people getting too close to a UAP can be experienced biological effects. We talked about this. Karen Wilkinson is a textbook case of it. And other people, you get too close, radiation, all sorts of adverse physical effects happen. So again, there's a lot to talk about there. Whistleblower, American public has been lied to. So this was really interesting. When this guy came on the record, I kind of freaked out because he's stating on the record, this of course David Grush, stating on the record that not only do we have crash craft, but we have non-human biologics that came with some of these recoveries.
Wow.
And this, of course, is Ronald Reagan talking to the UN, that our differences would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. The federal government shall exercise eminent domain over any and all recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence that may be controlled by private persons or entities in the interest of the public good. So the government is upping the ante here. They want access to everything. I think the American people are ready to receive the truth. I could not agree more. We are definitely ready. But you got to understand something, that if this happens, if they roll out disclosure, if President Trump stands up, on a Saturday morning or a Friday night or whatever, from the Oval Office, and around him are the heads of state and maybe the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and they say, he looks right at the camera and goes, "We are not alone. We have known this for decades. We believe that they are not hostile to us. We are in negotiation. They have given us technology, blah, blah, blah." What are you going to do with that? And how does that affect the church? Does that cause, in fact, a great falling away? This is what we're doing. The strong delusion, unmasking the strong delusion. This is it. Folks, I've been saying this for decades. My first book came out in 1999. The research for that goes all the way back to 1990, where I first read Dr. I.D.E. Thomas's book, which a game changer, life-changing for me. The Omega Conspiracy. Get the book if you have not read it. It's incredible. And he links the whole UFO phenomena back to the days of Noah. Remember, why does Jesus warn us that it'd be like the days of Noah when he returns? Out of everything he could pick in the Tanakh, because there was no New Testament at that time, I think we all know that. But out of everything in the Tanakh, what does Jesus point to? The days of Noah. What differentiates the days of Noah? The fallen angels coming down and mixing their seed. What's going on now with the abduction phenomena? Talk to Karen Wilkinson. Talk to Emil Turner. Talk to Angela Beckman. Talk to Al Matthews. We interviewed all four of them in our film on abduction. They were taken. Sperm is taken from the men. The women are impregnated. And then the fetus is taken. Angela Beckman on camera goes, we saw the heartbeat. It was there. I saw the heartbeat. And when I went back, nothing, gone. And she talks about the abduction. Karen had 3 children by them. And same thing. She's taken, and the baby, the hybrid entity, what I would say or label the present day, modern day Nephilim, because that's exactly what they are. It's a mixing of the seed. The seed of a dragon will be at war with the seed of the woman. Thank you, Gary Stimmer, for unpacking that and illuminating it to all of us. That's where I got it from. The seed of a dragon will be at war at enmity with the seed of the woman. The one coming from the woman will crush the dragon's head. You will bruise his heel. That's Genesis 3:15. Then we get Genesis 6, where the seed war erupts. Then all throughout the biblical prophetic narrative, we get the seed war continuing. Even when Jesus warns us to be like the days of Noah. Daniel 2:43. Their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. Who are we talking about? Who are they? They're not human beings. See where this is going? It's here. It's now. We were warned thousands of years ago in the biblical prophetic narrative. Their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. We are here. It's now, and it's happening. Let's continue. It goes, and I completely disagree with this concept that planet Earth is actually, that we are in a melting pot of many species throughout the galaxy. And this is what this gentleman believes, and that's fine. He can believe whatever he wants to believe. But, we're not going to disparage him, but we have a completely different take on this. No one knows what this is. No one knows what the universe is. No one knows where planet Earth is in the universe. Here's the analogy. If the universe is analogous to the United States of America, is planet Earth in Walla Walla, Michigan? Let's hope not. Dallas, Texas, Los Angeles? We have no idea. We have no idea where we are or really what this is. And many scientists, billions and billions of years old.
If you want to come on, I put the link in the
All
comments.
I know is this.
Just click the link.
And I hang my hat on this.
You can come on and ask questions.
The word is Jesus. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was
I'll
with
pause
God.
the video.
He was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were made by Him, and without Him, nothing that was made that was made. Nothing that was not made that was made. That's it. That's my belief. That's the core of my belief system. Jesus speaks everything into existence. And when He's here and He starts His ministry, He shows His power over the supernatural, over the natural, over the unseen realm. Because the church is anemic and many Americans are asleep, there is little to no pushback in search for the truth. Rungs of disclosure. The book has 17 rungs in it. We are now up to rung number 25. Wow. So that's it for this presentation. I'm going to just take a minute here, and then I'll roll the second one right after a short break.
So that was LA. Runs of it, disclosure. It just basically going over his book. However, when he comes back, he's going to be talking about, he's definitely got to be talking about the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, because it talks about the Luciferian doctrine. So, unfortunately, I got to go. I can't.
Days I go to London, Paris, Tokyo, Japan, New York, LA.